have you considered looking into other types of accounts like the Robinhoods, right? We were in this time where, everybody's a trader now. Everybody's able to buy fractional shares, and uh, everything's going to the moon and back. There's also obviously like referencing cryptocurrencies and referencing all the above, right? What are your thoughts on all those other accounts and ways to go about using the money?
I wish I had a slight gambling fund to do some speculative trading, but strictly as gambling. And that's my thoughts on that. I really do see all of this as gambling. I do not gamble with my money. I do not treat the casino like a stock market. I'm not trying to YOLO on GME or AMC or Nokia. And yeah, you can make a lot of money that way, very similarly to how you can make money in a casino. Like, why don't you go YOLO $30,000 on block and double it?
Yeah.
And um, I just don't do that. So my view on investing is long-term passive investing, all in on VTSAX, Vanguard index funds, and that's it. I mean, statistically, if you're putting your money in the stock market for less than 5 years, it's a gamble. And it could be up or down, but over the 5 year period, typically it's an upward trend, right?
Yeah.
So that's really my view. Crypto, I still don't know, and I don't want to sound ignorant because I really haven't spent much time researching it. I can you give me a reason why Bitcoin's worth so much money besides speculation?
Yeah. Have you in short, because people don't want to pay it, but have
But
you
that's
ever
speculation.
totally so have you ever read the book Sapiens by uh Noah Yuval, I forgot.
Yeah, I have.
That chapter on money, I read that while I think it was my sophomore junior year at UF, and the chapter on money was what I was going through the time of like one of the previous major Bitcoin moments where that was just like I bought Bitcoin back at like, back then when I say I bought, I didn't go all in. It was just like I had fun with, I gambled in your words, right? I had a friend who was able to buy Bitcoin really on my behalf. He was like my broker for, it was like at $200.
Wow.
And it was just like this random tech thing that I had no idea about, but I had no idea, but to your point, and I read that book on that chapter in particular on money and how money as we know it today is, how we use it. And it blew my mind, and that was the foundation of my thoughts around, a dollar and just currencies and exchange rates. And I had a roommate who was really big into forex and and cryptocurrencies, but as far as the background technologies around cryptocurrencies, I'm not going to pretend like I'm a master and know it all around that either.
Yeah.
But I do believe that I already can see people are taking, there are these risks, but I think as the more broadly it gets accepted, the more these coins and these different like technologies are going to be in the mainstream and actually have the value that we're kind of seeing the assumed value today, the speculative value that we have right now. I think that there's different, and I'm looking forward to hopefully through this show talking with people who are excited about this space and are able to give us like a really intricate description of it all. But right now,
Yeah.
I think so many people are FOMOing into it, which is also driving the number up that much more. But I do think that there is a core value there um, at some level, but I also don't know enough around how it's going to be used in the future. Everybody says it's, 100, like by the end of X number of years, you're only going to be a finite number, and
Hmm.
whatever, sure. But I mean, there are a finite number of these like glasses in my kitchen too that I am able to use, and you know, I don't know. It's something
So
that, yeah,
yes, there's a finite number of Bitcoin, but they're infinitely divisible, right? So it's not really a finite number. I mean, you can always own a smaller and smaller share. My the thing that I can't wrap my head around with Bitcoin is one, the risk of supercomputing, right? So it is Bitcoin, to my understanding, is secure now, but as technology starts getting better and better and better, like the security and protection around Bitcoin is probably going to fall, right? So to me, I think the blockchain in and of itself is a good technology, just like the internet is a great
Mhm.
technology. I do not understand why that makes Bitcoin worth $50,000. I That's the part, like the technology is great and it could be done for free. You can use blockchain to validate contracts and do whatever else. You can get all these benefits on a free peer-to-peer blockchain where there's no reward for the underlying, function
Mhm.
that's being performed. Um, the second thing that I think is the only thing that gives Bitcoin value is people willing to buy and sell it. Whereas I don't think anything else like that really exists in the world, like in the physical world. Like, even if you buy a Picasso, right? Why is a Picasso worth so much money? Because people are willing to pay it. But even if people weren't willing to pay it, it'd still be worth the paper it was drawn on, right?
Right.
There's
Right.
something of value there.
Right.
Um, the only out that I see for Bitcoin is if it does get adopted as a currency. If it overtakes currency and is
Right.
transacted as a currency, then yeah, because all currencies are just based off of, I'm willing to give you something in the physical or digital world for this thing that other people are willing to accept in a similar manner. It's just an exchange of value.
Right.
But that's its only out. And if that's its out, I'm highly concerned, right? Because we already have people that are hoarding Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin becomes, like a worldwide currency or a way to exchange, you already have people that are going to be trillionaires or quadrillionaires, depending on what the value of one coin is in the future, right? Which is wild. So if currency is its only out, and that's the way it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to be Ethereum. I think it's going to be something that's centralized, much the way that currency is centralized now, right? To a nation.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. No, that's fascinating. That's fascinating perspective. I think, um, it's, we see obviously Tesla's making the news for a number of reasons, but obviously they came out I think like a week or two ago about saying how they're going to accept Bitcoin as to purchase their cars,
mhm.
and you're shaking your head. You're like,
No, I'm saying like, yeah, that it's
yeah,
good for now.
totally, totally. And there are some people taking salaries apparently in Bitcoin. There's some sports people doing that.
NFL players, yeah,
Yep,
I saw that.
yep. Um, so I mean, I think that there's an effort to trying to get this to be more normalized, um, in a lot of like areas of society. Though it's funny, I'll bring up Tesla again, but in their terms of service, it was very interesting on how they wrote, if the value of Bitcoin depreciates or goes up, like we'll give you. It was basically like if it goes up, then you know whatever it was like it was always best for Tesla in a sense. Like if it went
Yeah,
down, then we'd pay you in your exact Bitcoin, but if it went up, then we'd pay you in cash, whatever that equivalent time like was at the time of purchase. Um, but but yeah, I think the thing that fascinates me most about crypto, and we'll move on in a second from this, but is
yeah,
just how there's so many coins, and each coin has its own model of like what it's trying to do in the foreseeable future of technology. And I think that if we are able to transition as a society into those types of modes uh, of transactions and base our society along this blockchain, then those are going to be seen, and that would be the out there. But if that kind of limits itself, then it's a self-limiting kind of experience. Um, that it can only hurt itself if those things don't come to fruition. But it's also my thoughts being in the gaming space and having these posters behind me over here is, virtual reality has been around since like I think late 70s, early 80s at least, but only now are they becoming more mainstream where it's like, oh yeah, like my friends have a Oculus or whatever. my friend has a Vive and whatever, and it's just now people are becoming more adjusted to it. But again, it's going to be another 5, 10 X plus years before it's everybody has it. We have the enthusiasts, right? Just in tech, we have the tech enthusiasts that have all the different headsets. And then now, as it's becoming more affordable into these like $200 Oculus Quest, whatever's, now it's kind of funneling down. I think cryptocurrencies, if it does see some realization of the value that it has right now, it will ultimately be in everybody's wallet of sorts, where everybody will have some as it potentially fades out some of the current uh, uh, I forgot the term I'm looking for, is like the monetary system we have today. Um,
I mean,
yeah.
I think you're 100% right. Adoption would be slow and hard. You just have to think of how many things would change and how you would have to change with it. And especially the fact that it's deflationary, right? So the only way that Bitcoin can become a success is if people learn to use scientific notation and are good at
And an X to the
it.
whatever's, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that is so interesting.
and are
That's
good
very
at it.
interesting. Yeah,
So
yeah,
you have to have banks accepting this and whatever it is, 0.05 times 10 to the negative 17 or whatever it is.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then you have to be
That's,
able to translate that to some sort of real
that's
value,
hilarious.
right?
Yeah,
The only reason people are hyped about Bitcoin is because it's worth so much real money. That's
right,
it.
right.
Literally, they're using it as a
Interesting.
rocket ship to convert back to fiat currency and of the world that they live in.
Yeah,
There's again, to
fiat
me,
currency. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
nothing exciting
Hmm.
about Bitcoin. Had I wish I bought some in 2011 when I knew about it? Yes.
Yeah,
Um, am
yeah.
I looking to buy some now? No. Could it still go up? Sure.
Yeah.
I'm still not going to gamble on it.
Yeah, yeah. So no, I think that you definitely are like the very much, yeah, that person that continues to, you're like a slow and steady wins the race mentality of, look,
Uh,
I know this is proven to work, right? If I follow this method, it's definitely gonna,
yeah,
get you where you want to go effectively.
I think you just summarized me in a sentence. Yeah, it's the saver's investor's path to wealth. Could I think I am going to start a little gambling fund on the side, maybe like 5,000 to drop into some speculative stuff and see where it goes. Um, but that again, that's my gambling fund. My main strategy, savers investors path. I think I read a Forbes article or like some article that was saying, the top 5 ways to become super wealthy or a millionaire. And like the first one's like be born into it. The second one's like marry into it. And the third one was savers investors path to wealth. Just start investing as soon and as early as possible. And I think I don't think enough people realize this, but if you put $50,000 into the market today and you wait for 40 years, literally just don't touch it, just one index fund, just $50,000 and don't touch it. You wait 40 years and you're at, over $700,000 in that 40-year time frame.
Yeah.
So to invest $50,000, if you invest, $1,000 a month when you start working, 24 months, 2 years, you have 24,000. In 4 years, you have 50,000. Graduate college, you're now 25, right? Graduate college 21, you're 25, you have the 50,000 in there. 40 years, you're 65. Now imagine what happens if you save more than $1,000 in those months. Now you have 1.5 million, right? So if you
Hmm.
save double, you save $2,000 a month, then you're getting $1.5 million in your bank account at the end of the day. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not tone deaf. I do understand that's not possible
Feasible for that.
for a
Yeah.
lot of people. Um, but I'm talking for people that we went to school with in the business school. I think a lot of them could do it, but then I think some of them choose to live on South Beach. So
Yeah.
that
Yes.
can be,
Brickle.
so
Yes.
yeah. So
You're like that hit a
it's
spot.
just a wild. No, it's just a wild thought. It's just
Yeah.
if you do this, you will be a millionaire in your lifetime. Or you
So
can choose to live in Brickell for 3 months. Like,
Yeah, totally, totally. I will say another thing that I don't know if it was a joke or not, but one of my friends posted like how a millionaire uh spends his day. It was like wakes up at like 5:30 a.m., does all the, work, early morning workout, meditation, whatever, and then he was just like then, talks to his dad who owns a Fortune 500 company and then goes back goes back to sleep.